Hey everybody. So we're done with angles and equations. Good job last week. We're not done with this unit yet though, so that was just part one. Next we got to learn about angle relationships. So relationships that angles can have, and then also we're going to jump into the wonderful world of triangles. So today I'm going to introduce you to this, okay? This idea of angles and parallel lines and things like that. So I got some vocabulary that we need to go over. So I would recommend getting a piece of paper and writing these notes down. I'm going to supply you with this sheet so that you can fill it in as we go too. Let me kind of shrink myself down so you can see me writing. All right, so here we go. Today we're talking about angle relationships. Angle relationships. Okay? But there's a lot of vocabulary in this unit, so I just needed to make a video to touch on this vocabulary. Okay, so here's how it works. This unit is all about taking a pair of parallel lines. They're parallel because they never touch one another, and crossing them with what's called a transversal. Transversal. Okay, so these lines are parallel, and this is a transversal. And it actually creates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different angles. Now, inside of this is a lot of ways of explaining it. Mathematicians like precision. We need to be able to explain what angles we're talking about and the relationship between them. So, for example, angle 1 and angle 4. They are across from one another when two lines meet. Those are called vertical angles. Vertical angles. Those are angles when two lines meet, they are across from one another. And what's so special about them is that they are congruent, or they equal one another. Okay, they equal one another. So for example, if this is 100 degrees, then the angle next to it is supplementary, which we learned last week, meaning that this and that add up to 180 degrees. So this angle has to be 80 degrees. Well, if that's 80 degrees, then this one has to be 100 degrees, and the one next to it has to be 80 degrees. And if you notice, angles straight across from one another are congruent. So those are vertical angles. Now, there's also interior angles. Interior angles. Those are angles that are inside the parallel lines. So 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 are interior angles because they're inside the parallel lines. We also have exterior angles. Exterior angles. Those are angles that are outside the parallel lines. They do not lie in between them, they lie on the outside. So like 1 and 2 and 7 and 8, those are outside the exterior angles. Another vocabulary word that we have is alternate. Alternate angles. Okay, now when we say alternate, we need alternate of the transversal. Transversal. Okay? Alternate angles are angles that are on opposite sides of the transversal. So when we have this transversal, this angle right here and this angle right here, they're on opposite sides of the transversal. If I just drew the transversal alone, let's say an angle was right here and an angle was right here. Are they on opposite sides of the transversal? Meaning is one on the left and one on the right? Yes, they are. So that's alternate angles, or alternate sides of the transversal. Which leads us to our next one, which is same side angles. Same side angles. Those are angles that are on the same side of the transversal. For example, if I drew parallel lines again in that transversal, an angle that is on the left side of the transversal and also on the left side of the transversal are same side angles. Okay? So we're talking like 3 and 5. They're on the left side of the transversal. 2 and 8, they're on the right side of the transversal. Okay? And the last vocabulary word that we have is called corresponding. Corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are angles that are in the same spot, but on different lines. This is a tricky one, so let me explain. Okay, let me show you a corresponding angle. Here's our parallel lines, here's our transversal. This angle right here, if you notice, it's in that top left angle of this group right here. It corresponds with this line right here, meaning it's in the top left angle on this line, and it's in the top left angle of that line. This angle right here corresponds to this angle right here on the other line. Corresponding means they're in the same spot, but on a different line. Whew! A lot of vocabulary there. So now this is why I gave you this piece of paper here. So we got these angle relationships, and I've kind of made it a little digital, a little bit better. Okay? So we've got these angles here. And we're going to just get a couple little answers. So I want you guys to write this down so you have these in your notes. So like corresponding angles are angles that are in the same spot, different line, okay? Same spot, but different line. So like 1 is in the top left, and 5 is the top left. So angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. Angle 8 is in the bottom right of this line, and angle 4 is also in the bottom right. Angle 8, angle 4, angle 7, angle 3, angle 6, angle 2, okay? Now here's some fun facts about corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent, meaning they equal one another. They're the same size, which makes sense. If you notice, angle 6 is a small angle, and angle 2 is a small angle. These lines are parallel, so they make the same angle. So angle 2 and angle 6 equal one another. Next one, alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are angles on opposite sides. Make sure you're writing these down. Angles on opposite sides of transversal. But inside the lines, the parallel lines, okay? So 3 and 5 are not alternate interior angles because they're on the same side. 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. They're on alternate sides of the transversal, and they're inside the parallel lines. So 3, and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. And guess what? They're also congruent. And again, just look at them. Small angles are congruent with small angles. Big angles are congruent with big angles. So the other one is 5 and 4. Those are alternate interior angles. So then alternate exterior angles, which is the next one, are the same thing but just on the outside. So angle 7 is an alternate exterior angle, meaning it's on opposite sides outside with 7 and 2, and then 1 and 8. So angle 7 and angle 2, angle 8, and angle 1. Alternate exterior angles. Those are angles on opposite sides of the transversal, and outside the parallel lines. And guess what? They're also congruent. They equal one another. Okay? Same side interior angles. Look at the name. Same side interior angles. That means they're on the same side of the line inside. So same side of the line, and they're inside. Okay? So 4 and 6 are on the same side of the transversal and they're inside the parallel lines. Angle 4 and angle 6 are same side interior angles. So thus angle 3 and angle 5 are the other same side interior angles. Angle 3 and angle 5. These are not congruent though. These are supplementary. Supplementary meaning they add up to 180 degrees. And let's look at that. If you look, angle 5 is a large angle and angle 3 is a small angle. Okay, they do not equal one another, but they do add up to 180 degrees. Linear pairs are angles that share a line. Angles that share a line next to one another. Angles that share a line and are next to one another are linear pairs. So for example, angle 1 and angle 2 are on this line right here. Angle 1 and 2 are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180, but they're a linear pair. 3 and 4 are linear pairs as well, because they share this line and they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 2, angles 5 and 6, there's lots of them, are also linear pairs, and they add up to 180 degrees. Okay. The last one are vertical angles, which I kind of explained at the beginning of this video. Vertical angles, my light turned up. Vertical angles, I have to get up and do a motion here. Vertical angles are angles that are crisscross from one another. So for example, 5 and 8 are straight across from one another. 7 and 6, 1 and 4, 3 and 2. Those are vertical angles. So the angle 5 and angle 8, angle 1 and angle 4. They crisscross one another. They crisscross one another and they are congruent to each other. Or they equal one another. Okay? Now, I know it's a lot of words, but here's some definitions. I'm also going to post other videos for you guys to watch to kind of understand their relationship. You need to kind of figure these angles out because that's what we're going to be working with this week. Okay? Thanks, guys.